Good day, you're watching Business World Live. I'm Delos Santos and here are today's top stories. Finance Secretary Diokno is confident that the country will achieve its growth target this year and in 2023 despite the presence of global headwinds. President Bongbong Marcos is set to issue an executive order that promotes ease of doing business in the country. The president says his administration is already considering a few names to be the next agriculture secretary. And on the corporate front, shareholders of Eagle Cement approved the company's delisting from the local bourse. Let's begin our broadcast with Finance Chief Diokno expressing confidence that the country will hit its growth targets this year and in 2023 despite external risks. Speaking at the BusinessWorld Economic Forum, Diokno said the domestic economy will exceed 7% this year. He also said that there is no need to despair if the GDP slows to 6.5% in 2023, describing this figure as spectacular given the global headwinds that may weigh on growth prospects. From January to September, growth averaged at 7.7%, and the economy only needs to grow by 3.3% in the fourth quarter for the government to achieve its GDP goal of 6.5 to 7.5%. The BusinessWorld Economic Forum returns to a face-to-face setting with discussions on inflation and food security, among others, taking center stage. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us a front seat to the story.
The much-anticipated BusinessWorld Economic Forum finally returned on-site this year. With the theme Forecast 2023, Opportunity and Uncertainty, the event gathered the country's top businessmen to discuss the post-pandemic landscape. House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez opened on a high note, telling the business community that the best is yet to come.
We are on the first stage of full economic recovery, and we are marching on the right direction.
Romualdez noted the government is poised to achieve growth between 6.5 to 8% from next year onwards. The House Speaker also said Congress is committed to prioritizing legislative measures that support the government's 8-point socio-economic agenda. First on that agenda is attaining food security, which was a hot topic at the forum. There were a number of solutions offered to address high inflation, including bringing tariffs down, encouraging local farm production, and tempering politics when it comes to addressing food issues.
Right now, it is politics that reigns when we make decisions on sugar imports, on onions, on fish, on meat. So we need business sense to come into these decisions because it is business sense that will enable a smooth flow of the stocks.
In his keynote address, Finance Secretary Benjamin Diokno emphasized the role that the Philippines' young demographic will play in our economic recovery.
Our young, tech-savvy, and globally competitive workforce shall be our engines of growth. Therefore, we will champion them by making human capital development and education with a sharp focus on 21st century skills a top priority in our agenda.
Other hot issues tackled at the forum were on sustainable energy, quality and inclusive education, and digital banking. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
President Bongbong Marcos is expected to sign an executive order that will expedite strategic investment approvals. Malacanang says the EO will establish a green lane in government agencies and LGUs to streamline the issuance of permits and licenses. By promoting ease of doing business in the country, the order is seen to make the Philippines competitive with its regional neighbors in terms of drawing foreign direct investments. Under the EO, agencies and LGUs are tasked to act on applications within 3 business days for simple transactions and 7 business days for complex transactions. The EO, however, has been deemed redundant as the Duterte administration already established the Anti-Red Tape Authority to eliminate bureaucracy. Public policy think tank InfraWatch PH says the government's latest efforts would only take ease of doing business one step back by creating another layer of red tape. Now, are we really in need of another measure promoting ease of doing business, or will the new EO just add another layer of red tape? Let's discuss that and more with George Barcelon, President of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. George, good day. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Jess.
Okay,
Thank you for inviting me.
What to make of this EO to be issued by the President promoting ease of doing business, and how does this sit with the business community, especially when we already have ARTA in place?
Well, I think this galvanized the ARTA in the sense that everyone, at least in the government service, is made aware that President BBM is cognizant of the fact that ease of doing business is very important for us to attract more foreign direct investments, and also at the same time help the local businessmen expand their business. We know we have ARTA, which is good. PCCI has been very supportive of ARTA since its inception. But the EO is like a overarching umbrella that is to make people aware that we need to really improve our efficiency in government services. A lot of people, of course, especially for the exporter, they are more inclined to invest their factories in the PESA zone, processing export zone, because of the fact that when you're inside the PESA zone, it's clear, the guidelines are clear, there's rule of law, and most importantly, compliance and applications of documents. There's a timeline, and they deliver. And I think that is something that, throughout our country, local governments, the local officials should emulate that. They should adopt that. You can only, like in my dealings or hearing from people in the PESA zone, are very happy. And they have really good words for, especially during the time of De Lima, wherein the DNA of PESA was established. So I hope that local government can emulate that. No, they would also follow, although they have their own jurisdiction, can follow that sort of DNA, of efficiency. So that is why I think this is important for us, to have that in the fabric of the government services.
Now,
thank you.
I just want to touch on one point that you mentioned there, that you see, if others see this as a redundant policy, considering that we already have ARTA in place, you're saying this in fact is going to galvanize the policies that we have already in place. How exactly is it going to do that, considering that if we try, at least so far, based from what we know, these are policies that are already in place under ARTA?
Right. Just there's a difference. With ARTA, issues have to be for them to look into it. Okay? So, on that sense, there is a venue for the private sector, to ventilate. But the EO that President BBM is going to sign is really put the alert sign. Okay? Even the case does not reach ARTA, they should know that this is important from the point of our economic growth, And President BBM is well aware of that. And that's why I said it added more clout to it, because issues are definitely brought up to ARTA. I think any local government agencies is now aware that there's such an EO, and they should take it upon themselves to improve their efficiency.
Now, of course, this whole topic of ease of doing business has always been a topic for us whenever we talk. I mean, the PCCI has always been pushing for this. But how attractive exactly is the Philippines now as an investment destination, considering, of course, all the headwinds, global headwinds, at the same time, the domestic issues that we have to be dealing with? Of course, we are expected to grow according to target this year, but that's expected to slow down as well next year. So how attractive really is the Philippines?
Just let me put it this way. The European community and elsewhere, even US, no, when President BBM visited New York, you can feel the sentiment that they see potential in this region of the world. Okay? We know very well that Europe is having challenging times, and their population is aging. Okay? The average age of European is double our average age here in the Philippines, and there's more upside. Their population is slowly not only aging but diminution. They're getting to be less population, no? Less populated. While in our case, we still maintain a very healthy population of 110 million, and these are all upsides wherein any investment to provide services and goods, no, has that upside. So I would feel that especially this upcoming trip of President BBM to Brussels, one of the topic that will be discussed aside from the ASEAN Europe topic is our FTA, free trade agreement with European countries.
Now, this time around, let's discuss, of course, I mean, one of the near-term challenges still is inflation. How long do you see this remaining a problem, and how best to address supply-side issues?
We're happy to see that the fuel price has gone down. The diesel has gone down, kerosene and gasoline has gone down. So that's a good sign. And so far, the Federal Exchange in the U.S. Is aware that the inflation trend in the U.S. seems to taper a bit. But we're not hearing any increases in interest rates, no? At least within the year. For a while, there was talk that the increase in there would be two more rates increases for the U.S. But so far, I'm glad that things seems to had stabilized a bit. Their employment rate and especially one of the key factor in the U.S. and the inflation is the fuel. So once that has this has started to come down, like what we're experiencing here, no, any increase would need to really be seriously looked upon, no, whether it's needed or not. So that would help the inflation. On the other side, which is as was shown earlier with the forum yesterday, the concern for food.
Right.
For food, that is one item that has been causing our inflation. This is it's harder to tackle, and I think that President BBM is doing all he can, and also looking into the possibility of if there's a shortage, that importations may be needed.
Okay, just to at least address supply shortages here, but we're talking about shortages here. There's a looming crisis here, of course, especially when we're talking about energy here, not to mention this whole beef over the TRO and the PSA between South Premier and Meralco as well. I mean, increasing the possibility of higher rates here. How best to address this? The energy situation in the Philippines.
The energy situation, really, as of now, is a long-term issue. Okay, we need to really reinvigorate our oil exploration. Okay, and at the same time, the use of power is not balanced, no, all over the region. There are regions wherein the baseload supply is higher, but the uptake is not as high. So if those power can be channeled to the areas wherein there's a need for more power, that is the best. We have heard in south of the Visayas area that they are experiencing brownouts. Of course, we're moving to it's really Christmas season now, no? And it's very important that the establishment are able to operate in a normal way for business. Here in North Luzon, we're not that critical. We're not experiencing any brownout. We're not red, but we're yellow. That means that we have enough to cover our needs. So energy is something that it's a long-term issue. It's a long-term planning that's required. Other than that, I think it's a balancing act.
Will you be pushing for amendments to EPIRA?
Well, I would use a minor term. Some areas can be tweaked.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Now, lastly, before we let you go, and this was a big news yesterday, again, you have some lawmakers pushing for the Maharlika Sovereign Wealth Fund. What do you make of that? How confident are you that this is something that the country can already handle, how that it will not be susceptible to corruption and mishandling?
This is something sovereign, fund is being used in other countries. Other countries have been very successful with their sovereign fund, and I think it's about time that we have something like this. Now, I would look at it from the point that the administration knows that there's plus and minuses, but I would look more on the plus, because sovereign fund like this, in a way, put us at the point wherein how other countries, how other fund managers look at the Philippines. Okay, but so far our credit standing has been very good. Our macroeconomic fundamentals is still holding up. So, but aside from that, when you have that, where people would invest, and there needs to be all of these fund managers would look at how we manage it, the transparency of how we manage this fund. And I would look at it that since this is the step that we're moving towards to, all the guidelines and what you call safeguard would be put in place. And anyway, we have in our country, the law on the freedom of information is there. And that allows many the citizen organizations to have access to information on that. So I'm pretty comfortable, and I'm very supportive of this, wherein this could help pace up our economic development.
All right, again, checks should be in place if we are to come up with our own sovereign wealth fund. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Again, George Barcelon, President of the PCCI. Now let's pause for a quick break, but coming right up after that. BIFAR admits that the order banning the sale of imported pompano and pink salmon in wet markets needs some amendments. More of that and other stories when Business World Live returns. Stay with us. You're still watching Business World Live here in One News. I'm Jess Delos Santos. President Marcos says his administration is already considering a few personalities to permanently take over the Agriculture Secretary post. During his visit to the International Rice Research Institute, or IRI, the president said he is just finishing a checklist of goals that he wants to achieve as agriculture chief before appointing a replacement who will take over as the agency's permanent secretary. Marcos says he already has a timeline set to achieve these goals. The president has earlier said that he would only leave his post once structural issues in the Agriculture Department are addressed.
Maraming lumalabas na pangalan, tuloy-tuloy ang pagtingin namin, so hopefully by the time na yung checklist ko natapos na, meron na tayong pwedeng i-nominate na DA. That list keeps changing. May nawawala, may nadadagdag.
Among the targets of the Marcos administration is to boost its focus on farming. Marcos says the government will continue trying to bring down rice prices until they reach the 20 peso per kilo level he promised during his campaign.
The 20 pesos was really the goal. The dream is paabutin natin ng 20 pesos. We are continuing with the transfer payments that we have begun with. We are going to widen the scope of the Kadiwa.
The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources wants to review the order banning the sale of pink salmon and pompano in wet markets. In an interview with the chief, spokesperson Nazario Briguera said it was possible to amend the order to exempt items like salmon scraps. Briguera also noted that the order does not provide a distinction between wet markets and supermarkets. However, Briguera said the agency is compelled to enforce existing policies for the time being. BFAR earlier said it would begin cracking down on the sale of imported pink salmon and pompano in wet markets and supermarkets on December 4.
But unfortunately, pending the amendment of AO, ma'am, we are compelled to implement the existing policy. But yet, it's possible, ma'am, upon amendment, ito po kasi wala din sa saklaw ng BFAR ang pag-amenda po ng AO. Ito po ay dumada sa proseso.
While BFAR keeps true to banning the sale of imported pink salmon and pompano in wet markets, Senator Rafi Tulfo lambasted the order. Tulfo said the order was discriminatory for targeting small vendors.
Ang tanong, sinong magaling na nagdagdag nito sa FAO 195? Ang mga mayayaman na restaurant at hotel nakalusot sa pag-import ng isda. Pero ang mga malilit na tindera sa palengke, hindi pwede. At bakit? This is a very clear violation of equal protection. Malinaw na discrimination po ito laban sa mga maliliit na tindera sa merkado. And more importantly, BFAR went beyond the provision of the law.
Eagle Cement says no stockholder voted against its proposal to voluntarily delist from the local bourse in relation to the company's ongoing sale of shares to an SMC subsidiary. Eagle Cement said it received the written assent of its stockholders that represent 4.61 billion of the company's shares. In October, Eagle Cement's majority shareholders agreed to sell their holdings to San Miguel Equity Investments Incorporated. A month later, the San Miguel unit started the mandatory tender offer to Eagle Cement's minority shareholders. The San Miguel unit also said it intends to voluntarily delist Eagle Cement from the main board of the stock exchange once the tender offer ends. Now, this from the Philippine Star. The Energy Regulatory Commission has issued a resolution formally suspending the collection of feed-in tariff allowance or FIT-all for 3 billing months starting next month. This means consumers will not be charged the less than the 4 centavo per kilowatt hour FIT-all rate. in their electricity bills. That's from December 2022 to February next year. Fit All is a component of the electricity bill that ensures the development and promotion of renewable energy in the country. The ERC says the suspension of Fit All collection is one of their immediate interventions to mitigate high electricity rates. And those are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate front today. I'm Jess De Los Santos. We are One News, all sides, all the time. Don't go away. We'll give you the latest on the financial markets when Business World Live returns. Stay with us. And you're still watching Business World Live here on One News. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Again, local trading on a holiday break as the Philippines observes Bonifacio Day. But just the same, let's do a quick recap on how the local bourse performed in the past month. And quite a stellar outing here. You have the index, at least ending the month of November, close to 6,800, just a few points shy here. You have 6780 spot 78 here for the index, capping off Tuesday with its highest close in 2 months, up by 1.5%. Thanks in part, of course, to the MSCI rebalancing, which bolstered some bargain hunting, at least according to Claire Alviar of Phil Stocks here. As you can see right here as well, over the past month, the index has gained by 9.25%. Is this going to be the start of what has been regularly touted as a Christmas rally? Well, we'll have to wait and see if this, of course, extends up to December. But looking at how we have performed as well so far, from our lowest point back in September, wherein the index was still at the 5,700 level, you'd see here since September 30, the index has climbed close to 18% already, again at 6,780, 18.1% to be exact. So let's see if that extends all the way to the month of December before we end the year. That, of course, we will have to wait and see as trading resumes tomorrow. But for now, let's see how the action is faring for the rest of the region here in Asia, where trading is still ongoing, looking like a mixed bag right here so far. You have some indices here following or keeping track of losses over in Wall Street. That's on the back, of course, of COVID developments in China, as investors seem to cheer a potential pivot from stringent pandemic rules. At the same time, this comes ahead of a speech here by Fed Chair Jerome Powell, where he is expected to talk about the economy as well as inflation and the labor market. But some of Fed officials, of course, already signaling the need to keep interest rates high until inflation cools. Again, you have your Japanese indices starting the day in the negative territory. The topics and the Nikkei both down here, as well as some Chinese stocks here. However, you have the Kospi starting the day in the green here, up by 0.4%, as well as the Aussie stocks here, the S&P 200 at least starting the day up by 0.3%. And that's it for today, November 30, 2022. Join us again tomorrow at exactly 9:30 a.m. You can also catch us on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Stay safe, Philippines. We are One News, all sides, all the time.